Hi. So, picking up where I left off. So, it was 1997 and in Minnesota, Appleton, Minnesota, and working with some of the kids, started figuring out a little bit about what that particular journey is going to be like, changing a lot of the routines that I was going through. And, unfortunately, there was lots of opportunities for everybody out of state to get high, get drunk, do all that type of thing. So I wasn't doing any of that. I did obviously at some point in time decide to quit freaking smoking weed. Um, obviously let's grow up, right? Plus the fact I don't want to be a hypocrite, and I told you about that, and that was a big thing because kids are smart and they'll spot that. And so I wanted to make sure that I was coming correct and being genuine with my message. And so that became a very much a part of my life. And I was very proud of the fact that God gave me an opportunity to really give back and add some value through talking about my journey. And even though it was pretty much, use my life as a beacon to know what it is that you don't want to do, let it serve as a warning, basically. Um, I was about it. And so as time goes by, like I said, there was Jeremy was there. He was a young man, and I was still young, and there was a lot of great guys that I do really appreciate. But me and Jared clicked pretty good, and so we would go on these walks and we would talk. And again, he was 14 when he came into prison, and so he's learning a lot of stuff from us. And so it was really a pleasure to sort of learn his story and his journey and stuff. And he made some pretty remarkable strides. And at that time, I'm still very much learning myself, and I'd done a lot while working with the kids, but not as much as I end up doing down the road. But this definitely was the path. There's still a lot of dumb stuff going on around us, but the people sort of respect the MA population. It really did respect, I think, to some degree, that when we walked down the hall, it was kind of silly. We had our own shirts that had our name and it had our logo, Project Tomorrow. And people sort of were like, "Hey, man, you know what? They're helping the kids," and so that was kind of cool. So they kind of got out of our way on messing with us, I guess. So not that they were going to anyway, because some of the guys on there they were about it. Uh, but the bottom line was is that they definitely, it was just a different vibe. So the next thing is that I'm still working because this isn't my job. My job is, if I wasn't a clerk at the carpentry shop, I was a programs clerk creating uh, curriculums for the counselors and for the inmate population. And I was always doing one thing or another in regards to rehabilitation at some point, because I was learning and I was embedding myself into, just like with softball, I need to know, I need to understand, I need to learn. In order to be the best version of myself in that particular arena, I need to give over everything that I have all my time. It just is what it is, and I carry that forward now. I'm trying to learn what's going on around me, and I'm trying to do that. And I think that played out kind of well with just sort of how my mind works now. But that being said, um, so anyway, so in working through how to best help the youngsters, um, fast forwarding a little bit, there were some situations that occurred while I was inside. One of them was a buddy of ours got jumped, and I saw it, and it sucked. I was walking onto the basketball court. They were all playing basketball. Something happened. He fouled somebody, and the next thing you know, he's getting hit, and then 4 or 5 other dudes jump on him. And my first instinct was to run over there. And then I was thinking to myself, I need to go get help. And all my buddies were outside playing flag football. So I ran outside real quick and told everybody, hey, Jeremy's getting jumped. And it's not that Jeremy, it's a different Jeremy. And so we all started walking inside or whatever, and it was already done, and the cops already came in, and they took him to the hole and stuff. And so um, that was pretty scary, because it's the first time I ever seen anything like that. And so I was thinking to myself, this is a different environment right now. These guys from out of state have a different mentality about They don't care if they go to the hole. They don't care if they get more time. And so I really had to kind of change my thought process on how you walk around the prison. So we started doing it basically in almost teams. We almost started walking, hey, I'm going to go to the gym. You need to go with me. So we started doing that sort of thing, which was kind of a trip. And so always being on edge, always being in a place of alertness. It just felt like you were always about ready to, that next thing's going to happen and you got to be on top of it. And to live in that particular mindset is exhausting. Can't come out of your cell without your shoes on because you never know what's going to happen. And that's a lot. And so, but that's the reality of things. So we ended up sending a message to all the Minnesota inmates because of what happened there, because that's who it was. That was the state that jumped Jeremy. And 200 of the Idaho inmates went to the gym at 5 o'clock. And we were so, we lined the hallways. We couldn't all get in the gym. And so what happened is we beat the other pods from getting into the gym, which those are units. So the Minnesota guys were going down there to play basketball. And so we accidentally beat them down there so they couldn't get into the gym. They recognized what was going on and they were like, what? So the big dogs from Idaho and Minnesota got together and they just said they did a little bit of a truce sort of thing. And that politics really did open my eyes to the fact of gangs and stuff like that are going on in prison, because they were never around when I first fell. And it was really interesting on how that worked. And it really did open my eyes even more of, man, I just have got to always do what I can to help others stay out of that environment, but to do the things that will get me my chance out of here, because I can't do this. This is just, it's ridiculous. And there's always something trying to pull you in and embed you in that world. And it was a struggle every day for people to always try to be a part of this world. Come on, it's great. If it's not getting high, it's manipulating, stealing, fighting. It's just so much. So I was really focused on working with the kids, and then when it came to Jeremy got sick, my little buddy, the youngster, and so it was basically cold. And so what happened, guys, is that I would go and visit him a little bit from afar, and because he was at the honor dorm, which I was at for a second, but I got out of there because it was a dorm style, and yeah, I didn't like that much, but it was pretty cool. It was all right. So he's living there, and we know it's time to go to class, or the group. We have a group of kids coming in, and he's just like, yeah, man, I'm not feeling it. I'm done. I was like, all right, man, make sure you go to medical or something like that. Now, medical in prison, remember, they're the lowest bid. They have so much money allocated for that fiscal year, and they are not about trying to get rid of that money for anything short of, you've lost your arm and we need to take you to the hospital. They just don't care, because it's about the dollar. Once you privatize medical in a prison system, it's over. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I saw, at that particular point in time, 97, 96, I'd already watched probably a dozen of my friends die from negligence, and it's pretty sad, especially when it was all preventable. But medical's never going to tell you that. They're going to tell you what they're going to tell you because they got to cover their ass. And so being out of state, we kind of forget about that because it's out of state. Maybe it's different. So Jeremy's going to medical, and they're just saying, hey, you got the flu, just stay home, rest, and get drink water, stuff like that. And it looked like the flu, and we get that. And already you guys can tell that that's just not what it was. And so I ended up visiting Jeremy on a regular basis, just checking on him and stuff. And it didn't seem like he was getting any better. And so I'm out on the pod, the unit, and Jeff Admire's good friend of mine, man, big guy, part of Project Tomorrow. He was Jeremy's little brother, or big brother, excuse me. because they knew each other a lot longer than he knew me. So Jeff comes up to me and he says, "Hey, and this had been going on for about a month." And Jeff comes up to me and says, "Hey, Sean, I got to talk to you." I was like, "What's up?" He's like, "Yeah, it's about Jeremy." And yeah, that's when I knew that Jeremy had died from spinal meningitis. And what it was is that he had got streptococcus, and it had shifted his brain, cutting off the oxygen because it had morphed into spinal meningitis. And he went into a delirious coma where he was out of it, and they life flighted him to Thousand Lakes, the hospital in Minnesota or something. And yeah, and he went up being brain dead. And so they took him off the ventilation and stuff, and it wrecked me. And I'll tell you, yeah, it still gets me now. Uh, Such a good guy. And as furious as I was with medical, what a loss. And that's where I really discovered personally the value people have in our lives, especially when it comes to the thing I like to say the most, which is the world would be poorer with you not in it. And that goes for this individual. Jeremy was an amazing guy, and his family was amazing. And so I had to break it to his cellie, his best friend, who he was. And it was just a lot that I'd never come up against, and it was a pivotal moment in my life. And remember, pivotal moments are the things that you walk into one person, you walk through someone else. And it changed my mind frame on never taking the day for granted, or each other, and celebrating each other as if it was the last time you're going to see that person. And I regret not having spent more time and hanging out and learning and making them smile and doing those types of things. But it did light a fire under my ass to say, never again. We did the memorial. We did a couple, one for personal, close friends, and then one for the population. And I spoke, and it was really interesting. We sent a video to his parents, and I'd talked about the fact that Jeremy kind of adopted me. And that was kind of my family, because I didn't have a family. I didn't have anybody really out there. My sister, God bless her heart, she was off doing her thing, and she was trying to figure her life out. And so I was pretty much on my own, and Jeremy kind of adopted me, and their parents saw that. And she was, his mom was like, she gets a hold of me through the mail. It's like, Jeremy said you're a part of our family. You're a part of our family. That was pretty interesting. That was kind of crazy. But we honored Jeremy. We did a bunch of stuff to lift him up, but we got pissed, and we went to the Minnesota administration. We had a meeting on the tier, and after they started telling us all this stupid stuff about what happened and why it happened and all this stuff, I just said, hey, just real quick, just before you go into any more of how you guys are not responsible, just know this. I'm on the phone with his mom, and if she says burn this place down, 200 of us are going to burn this fucking place down. Because you guys killed my best friend. And they were like, what? And then I said, and we're done now. And we all left. As soon as I said we're done now, they were like, wait a minute. No, we're done. And so we all went about our business. And within I think it was 2 weeks, they broke the contract with Idaho and sent us all back. And I was good with that, because I mean, standing up against the corporations, the private stuff, man, need to be done. And I learned a lot more about, through that, and trying to dissect that a little bit in my brain, because just the way it works is that, learning a lot about the value of life, learning a lot about the value of friendships and each other, and not taking each other for granted, I think was this particular segment's aha moment. This is where I really learned a lot about how to add value without really putting a label on it. So I'm going to cut it off here. I'll get back to you guys on the next chapter. I do appreciate the heck out of your guys' time and effort. Again, subscribe if you want to know what's going on next. Meanwhile, have an awesome day, and I do appreciate you.